We're going to look at Philippians 2:13 among a few other verses in the next few minutes. I was reminded that it is God who works in us. Just this last week when my friends Greg and Micah and I were trying to move a very large athletic carpet, if you call it that. It's a big long roll that if you were at church, you saw that big green fake grass, that artificial turf rolled out where the batting cage now lies. And when we were doing this stage of the new batting cage, and it was Mike and I grabbed the rug, and we realized that this is impossible. There's no way that we can move this thing. And so Greg came along with his skid steer or his mini track hoe and put a big all tractor bit on there that could grab it, that would nudge it and roll it up, and then ultimately pick up that roll and move it. And even with the heavier equipment like that, it struck me when we were all done with the project that it was an absolute miracle, because when we rolled it up, it kind of rolled up a little wonky because it's just so heavy. And then when we went to go unroll it into the new location, you just get one shot. And so if you unroll this thing and it's sideways, then you'd have to start all over again. And so when that rug was laid down and it was unrolled, it was we just give God the credit that thing is lined up with that batting cage and those cables in that area there in the barn where we meet for church. So I was just reminded that God, He is the one that enables us to do the works of ministry. We can't do anything. It's the air in our lungs. It's the oxygen that's brought into our veins as we breathe in air and we breathe out. All of that process of just breathing and your heart beating is because God has enabled us to live. And when we roll the credits at the end of the day, at the end of today, anything good that comes out of today, He gets credit for it. He gets credit. So file a patent, open up to the bibliography, roll the credits, look at the copyright information, and whose name is written there as the owner, as the creator of anything that's good. Well, that would be the one and only King of Kings and Lord of Lords, our God, who loved us and saw fit to use vessels like us to do things beyond what we could ask or imagine. In 2 Corinthians 3:5, it says, "Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think of anything as being from ourselves, but our sufficiency is from God." Paul is there writing to the Corinthian church, talking about our lives as a living epistle of in a testimony, a living testimony to the world that God is at work. And I'm reminded of King Nebuchadnezzar, who God had warned that he would be punished for taking credit, and yet not heeding that warning. One day, walking on the roof of his palace, looked out at his kingdom and said, "Look what I have done. Look how amazing of a king I am." And it took 7 years of humiliation for God to turn that heart around. and for and we see a response after that time when he was turned into something like an animal, and then God restored his mind. We see a psalm and a prayer going up to the Lord, rolling the credits with his name removed and God's name in his place. The one who receives true credit. So, what is it that God is working in you to will? Excuse me. Working in you to will. What is it that God is working in you to do today? Give him the glory, give him the credit, and may we truly be consistent with that admonition from the Apostle Paul to the Corinthians, that our lives would be a living epistle to a world that desperately needs us to testify that is God who wills, as it says, it is God who works in you in Philippians 2:13. It is God who works in you. It's not you who works in you. It's God who works in you. Give him the credit. Give him the glory every chance you get. All right. God bless you. And until next time on